Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And another best of the week video, starting with top ranked president Todd Dubois saying that Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois is an obvious fight to make should Tyson Fury win against Alexander Usyk in December 2024. As we know, that's not a given. Alexander Usyk is favoured to win that one, but should he come through, you have to remember that Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois are both in the same stable, and it would be for an undisputed fight. So it makes a lot of sense, but I don't necessarily think that it would replace the February 2025 fight that Dubois and Frank Warren are talking about. But I do think a Tyson Fury win could influence the potential opponent. So I'll come to that in a moment, but Todd Dubois says, we're just making an assumption. Tyson still has to beat Usyk. That's a pretty daunting task in front of him. To make that Dubois fight is a natural. If Tyson was to beat Usyk, it's a natural. And I agree. I think it really is a natural fight to make. Remembering as well, Tyson Fury cannot be undisputed if he beats Alexander Usyk in the rematch. I know some people have put a lot of stock and said the IBF has stripped Usyk, but Usyk didn't seem too displeased to drop that belt and let it be on the line for Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. And I think that was a calculated move because he was denying Tyson Fury any opportunity for the rematch for it to be an undisputed fight. Thus, Tyson Fury cannot join him as being an undisputed champion should he beat Usyk in the rematch. He'd have to do more work. And the more work, should he beat Usyk in the rematch, would be against Daniel Dubois at this point, who's the current belt holder. So there is talk, obviously, with Daniel Dubois and his February 2025 fight. Now that Anthony Joshua is out of the picture, well, who's it going to be? We have seen a rise in sentiment in the past week or so among fans and also among some of the boxing media that Joseph Parker should be the name, having beaten Zhang Jilei and Deontay Wilder in the past year, and he's been sitting, waiting and watching. And I'll cover in a separate video some of his quotes, talking about how he thinks he deserves the fight, etc. But, there has been rising sentiment that he should be the guy. Frank Warren has confirmed he is a guy that is on the list of fighters, one of the fighters on the list, as he says to TalkSport. But I think Parker, which he's been a name that Warren and Dubois have spoken about, I should say, for years as a fight that they like for Dubois. He's just among a number of names. And another name that's wanting to put himself in the conversation, and he was already in that conversation, is Martin Bakole. So his promoter, Ben Shalom, says Martin is ready to face Daniel next. If they're looking for an opponent for February, he's ready to step in. He beats Daniel Dubois, and then he can unify the division. But if Frank Warren is truly looking at the potential for an undisputed fight, maybe they will not confirm an opponent for Dubois, at least until after that fight. If Fury wins, I could actually see Frank Warren matching a slightly less tough opponent for Daniel Dubois on the basis, 1, this is a voluntary, and 2, he wants him to get through it, and 3, undisputed would be on the way next, maybe mid-2025, Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois. Both those guys would want that piece of legacy. So we could actually see the outcome and the opponent change depending on potential results, but who knows? Maybe Daniel Dubois wants to keep being match tough as he has been. Remember the past year or so with the names that he's fought. Jarrell Miller, he also previously fought Daniel Dubois, now Anthony Joshua. He's had, a few moments where he had to come through some fire, and remember the knockdowns against Kevin Lorena. Ultimately, he's kind of gone from strength to strength, and he's kept getting better. He's improved. He's sort of redeemed himself. You can see he's a confident fighter. Maybe he'll think that Joseph Parker is tailor-made for him. There will be some other guys that he's probably going, I can beat them. Put anyone in front of me, I'll beat them. And then I'll face a fight for undisputed mid next year, or maybe July, August, somewhere around there. But, we have to, just consider if Tyson Fury wins that, maybe an opponent change, or in terms of the quality and caliber and beatability of the opponent, maybe that will change, depending on circumstances. Just something to consider. Hughie Fury, he will be returning on the 7th of December on a card on DAZN for GBM. They've got a contract now with DAZN. Still TBA at this point, so 29-3. Let's face it, probably at a few weeks' notice, or basically a month, it's not going to be anyone good. Coming off a win over Christian Thun prior to that in 2024, Patrick Court, Konstantin Doboshenko. But yeah, he still needs a little bit more in terms of I think activity really to get him back in the swing of things after, you know, the years of inactivity, long COVID symptoms and whatever else he was grappling with. So I don't think we're going to see him in with a meaningful name until 2025, unfortunately. He's been calling for big fights, but that's one thing to call for it, and the other thing, do you deserve it? At this point, Hughie Fury, no. Charles Martin, he will be facing Matthew McKinney on the 16th of November, and this is going to be a Westside Promotions card at the Fox Theatre, Redwood City in California. So Charles Martin, you know, gone from 2016 IBF champion, obviously was PBC for a number of years as well, and seemingly with their demise and ailing situation, Martin out in the wilderness at this point, close to 40, and not really sure where he's going next. But Matthew McKinney, it'll keep him active, but ultimately it's probably not really the fight that he needs. And he's not really in any big fights at the moment, or in the past a little bit. So a little bit sad to see that Martin couldn't sort of capitalize on that performance against Jared Anderson, where he did rock Anderson, just to show us, yeah, he's still got a little something left and not to be trifled with. Ivan Dychko, he will be returning at the end of December on the All-Star Boxing 2 evening. So this will be in Kazakhstan, opponent still TBA. So he's coming off a win over Craig Lewis. That's his only fight of 2024 thus far. Currently 14-0, the two-time Olympic bronze medalist, number 48 in the world on BoxRec. At this point, you're probably going to say, despite this saying, who would you like to see Ivan in the ring against? It's not going to be anyone that we probably want to see. The guy at a legit, was he 6'9" or 6'7.5", whatever he is, he's tall, you can't build, you know, you can't teach height. It's just a shame with the sort of tools that he's got, the power and athleticism that he hasn't been able to kick on and face anyone meaningful in his career to date. It's been such a slow burn since he rolled over in 2017. Kind of criminal, really. Kiki Toa Leutele, the New Zealand heavyweight, will be returning to the ring 29th of November. This will be against, and I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, Dychko Armstrong. So apologies if I got this wrong. This is going to be in New Zealand, in Auckland, and the card is called the Sweet Science 3. The Australian prospect Alex Leapai Jr., still a teenager, big raps on him, for what he could potentially do if he's able to develop in the next few years. He will be returning, and this will be in a couple of weeks' time on the Pedro Tversky card in Australia, 20th of November. So, yeah, keep an eye out for Alex Leapai Jr. Obviously, his father, Alex Leapai Sr., was a decent heavyweight. I think with the potential of Leapai Jr., he could go potentially even a little bit further and have a very strong career, but he's got to be allowed the time to develop. And the German heavyweight Emanual Odiase, he will be returning on the 16th of November at your call. Opponent at this stage, as I could see on BoxRec, was still a TBC. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.